sorry, but I must interrupt this show. Later, you know what it is. Hey, ham solo. It's time, baby. Low. It's turn out we do. Hey. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we in. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 Man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you on red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super fun like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go.
Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Behind Them Six with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. Hopefully, earlier you got to check out a little review that I did for Geometry Survivors. It was a fantastic little review for a little fantastic game that's only $7.99. A lot of fun. You should check it out if you haven't yet, but stay here as of right now so you can check out a little bit of history about RJay today. Got Captain RJay with me. He's been on this channel a few times previously. Me and him had some disagreements on this channel before, but I thought he took it like a champ, or he stood his ground. I stood my ground, and I was like, I can respect that. So I invited him here to be on Behind Them Six just so I can get a little bit of background on his on his gaming history and how he really got big into it and whatnot, because he's trying to be in the esports. He's organizing esports and stuff like that. But I'm gonna let you speak for yourself, brother. How you doing today, Captain RJay? What's cracking? Thank you so much for being on Behind Them Six with me this evening for you. You there, RJay?
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's evening for me. Thank you so much, Ham. And I had such a great. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay. Yeah. Am I still audible?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I had such a great time last time. Had a really nice back and forth. Otherwise, I'm doing okay. Just chilling back, having my fun, video games and esports. Yeah.
That's what's up. Good to hear from you. Going ahead and let everybody know where they could find you.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah. I think you're having a little bit of connection issues. You good?
Yeah, yeah, should be. I wonder why. Can't be certain why. Anyway, hang on. Let me check if something's in the background. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm Captain RJ on Twitter. You can find me on Xbox, Captain RJ. Yeah, I think that's about pretty much most of where I'm very active on X. So now it's called.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about the whole esports thing and like what's going on with that?
Yeah, so a few years back, I met a friend of mine. I met someone who was a total stranger at the time, and who is now my business partner. I met him on a game called PUBG Mobile. I'm not sure if any of the viewers are big on that. And I know PUBG was a thing at some point, but the mobile version of it, it's pretty big this side in Malawi, Africa. At the time, it wasn't so big, but yeah, I was one of the few first Malawians to hop on to the online side of that. And I met this guy who was from another city in my same country. We had never known each other before, and we just basically loved the game. And we used to strategize about how to approach the game and things like that. And then we started talking, hey, it would be really nice if we could host tournaments, right? So yeah, and then I didn't think he was very serious, but in my heart I was like, oh damn, that's actually been a fantasy of mine to host tournaments. And before you know it, I ended up communicating with the guy for some months, and then we decided to get into esports. And at the time, we didn't really know much about esports, other than the fact that it's competitive gaming. And we kind of stumbled our way into this ecosystem, and yeah, we started to learn. I mean, we're still learning, but yeah, we started to research and grow and network around esports with people from all over the globe. And yeah, we made some progress, organized a few tournaments in our country, which a few people loved, and they kept asking us, when is the next one? When is the next one? And then we said, yo, we need to get serious with this, make it big. And yeah, we started to take steps to doing that. Registered a company called King of the Grid Esports, and thus becoming the first people in Malawi to professionally organize esports. So we're kind of pioneers in that sense.
That's dope.
Started this 3 years ago. So yeah.
No, congratulations. That's an accomplishment right there, to do something in like an entire an entire country or a city or whatever like that. Like, yo, that's pretty hot. That's pretty dope, man. Congratulations for that. But let's go back a little bit to some of your early history, because I want to know like what it was like for you growing up in gaming and like trying to I mean, Lokes, he lives in Africa as well. He lives in Mozambique though. He lives in Maputo, right? So he tells me about his struggles and issues with getting video games. Did you have some of the same struggles growing up, RJay? Do you hear me? Oh boy.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, just go on ahead and tell me about some like what it was like acquiring a system and stuff like that. You did tell me your first console, I believe, was the NES. But you told me it was a special type of NES. So what was that?
Uh-oh.
Having a little bit of internet difficulty right now. My man's out here hurting. Oh man, it's all good. Oh, he dropped out. He'll be right back though. I'm cooling it with y'all. Thank you so much. I see you, Rodney, for pulling up. RJay, good to see you. Usual suspect. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you're enjoying this circus that we having right now. It's a little goofy. RJay ain't nobody new though, man. He's been here before. Having a little bit of technical difficulties, but he all right. Good to see you, brother. You back? You good? Can you hear me? Oh Lord, man! That thing fighting
oh my
for its
God,
goddamn
this
life.
is expected. Dude, this is African, man. TIA. Picked the wrong day, bro. Like it was okay until now.
Yeah, it
Alright.
was. It
So
was
you
right
had
as
a
soon
very
as I hit the
interesting
start
question.
button.
And funny enough, dude, I think that is a very interesting question, and let me tell you why. Because I want to, I don't want to say I had struggles in the past,
Okay.
because somehow I always had access, but it wasn't your typical access. It wasn't the way. Uh, it's not the access that I had is probably not similar to the way you guys normally have equal access. So growing up, my brothers had this console. I think they got it from my aunt who was living in South Africa at the time, and she just visited Malawi, and that was my first console. It was the Super Nintendo, but the fake version. So what it was is, I believe you call it the family clone. I had to actually look this up because to us we used to call that the golden china. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but that's what Africans call that console. They know that as golden china. In fact, I only learned that it was called Super Nintendo maybe 5 years ago.
Holy hell!
I mean, I knew there was a Super Nintendo, but then I did not know what that particular generation. Exactly. We know it as golden china. Ask any African, especially in Malawi, East African, they'll say golden china. So yeah, so that's what we call it. Thank you, Oshis, in the chat. So yeah, so my memory was playing Super Mario. So funny story. My parents used to be against gaming, but the reason isn't probably for reasons you might think. At the time, Malawi didn't have a television station. We had TVs, we had video, we had VCR, but we didn't have any TV station or cable, I think, as you like to call it. So the only entertainment was having, tapes, movies that you'd get from a rental. Yeah, mostly American movies and things like that. So getting a console for the first time, and so we have no, think of this, we have no magazines. We don't have, I mean, any magazines that talk about gaming and things like that. And then you see this beautiful machine that plays these little characters on the screen. I was mesmerized, man. This was around maybe 94, 5, 6, around that time.
Okay.
And my brothers told me that, when you play the game, when the parents are coming back home, don't tell them that we were playing video games. Just keep quiet. And I said, okay, sure. And yeah, me and my big mouth, man, I ended up chatting it up with my dad, saying, Daddy, there was this person on the screen and we're controlling him and everything. Yeah, that landed us in trouble for a bit there. But yeah, so yeah, growing up was basically connecting the console when the parents are gone. When they're coming back, unplug everything else and hide it. So yeah. So the myth was video games destroy the television. I don't even know how that makes any sense. I swear to God, this is actually very common. Actually,
no, that used to be a thing here a long time ago too. So
it used to be a thing there.
Yes. Parents would think that the video games, because especially because us kids would leave them on. Right, we'd leave the video game on, especially since we didn't have memory cards and stuff like that back in the day, So sometimes you leave it on, and you turn off the TV, and like I remember my mom would be like, "Boy, you better shut that thing off. You better not be busting your TV. You're not going to get a new TV if you break it." So, and I actually had one TV actually break, but it wasn't from the video games. It was just because it just was old ass TV and didn't want to work anymore. Wild. That's crazy how that how rumors like that carried on over and whatnot. It's wild. But continue.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Okay, I'm actually very kind of shocked. I thought it was just a African thing. Well, let me tell you something that's even more funny. Yeah. Let me
Oh, yeah. Those myths work for
exactly.
reasons.
And let me tell you something even funnier though. Is okay. I didn't have it in my household, but it was very common in African households. Uh, yeah. So this is something that was very common in African households. So what would happen is, um, when people watch TV, when the family watches TV for a while or whatnot, and it's time to go to bed.
Ah, damn. My man's internet is fighting for its life. God dang, man. It's all good though. I appreciate everybody for pulling up and whatnot. Hopefully, like I said earlier, I'm gonna get his stuff sorted and whatnot. He's probably not loving having to deal with this internet right now. But I did say earlier that I got that review from what was it for Geometry Survivors, and a lot of people have been comparing it to Geometry Wars, and I've never played that game before, so I definitely got to ask somebody or go check that game out and see what it's all about in comparison. But let's go on ahead and bring him back. You good?
Yeah, man. You guys have to bear with me this time around. I don't know what's going on, man. Okay. All right. So, yeah, where was I? Okay. So, funny story. Yep. Okay, Texas Internet. Oh, shit says. Yeah. So, thank you for saving my ass there. It must be Texas Internet indeed. Okay. So, in African households, right? When it's time to go to bed, a lot of households would actually, the parents would carry the TV to the bedroom.
Wow.
Because the
Lot of
TV has
work.
to rest.
We didn't do that shit.
That's just yeah.
Nah.
That's probably the most. Yeah, that's probably one of the most funniest things that happened. I mean, I didn't have it in my household, but it was very common. But yeah, yeah. But we did have a rest period. Like, yo, the TV has been on for too long. Shut it off. You played for too long and whatnot. So there's that. So yeah,
Y'all very
that was
conservative
gaming
with your TVs over there.
Bro, I swear, man. Well, that was the 90s, man. That was the 90s. Parents wouldn't have us on there, man. So imagine you don't have cable or anything. All you have is just VCR, and now apparently video games. So it was either or.
Okay, so let's move a little bit forward. So obviously that was like your first console. That was like, I like to tell people that's like the appetizer, right? That's the first thing you got. You got to get a little taste of it, see what it's all about. Once you got into it more, once you got into gaming more, what was the next console to be for you?
All right. So I think I might have been one of the few people at the time. This was 90s in our neighborhood with a console. And then I think we had new people move in, and then they had this Sega Mega Drive. I never had that, but that was like a step up, you know? I was like, yo, shit, this thing could get better. But okay, sadly, I never got to own one, although we did exchange consoles every now and again. Like, hey, you play mine, and then, played co-op on one of my neighborhood friends from back in the day. So after a while, I think this was somewhere around 2000s, my childhood friend, a very close friend of mine, happened to get a PlayStation 1, and he had Driver 2. And we were so close. Back then, we used to sleep over at each other's house. We were neighborhood friends.
Right.
Yeah, he became my best friend later on. So so when he got the PlayStation 1, I had my first experience of, mind-blowing graphics. And we used to stay up late nights playing video games, and when the parents get up from the bedroom to come check us out, with pretend we're asleep and everything. Yeah, it was such a great time. But then later on, I think at some point, my best friend, I think he got a PlayStation 2. At the time, I was still stuck with the NES, the golden china, basically.
Right.
And he gifted the PlayStation 1 to me, which was probably one of
Wow.
the best gifts I've ever gotten. Yeah, that was I mean, you can't imagine a friend just gifting you a whole PlayStation, especially early 2000. That was like something else altogether. Well, I had a few misadventures with that, unfortunately. It got stolen. We got
What?
swindled out of it. Yeah, that was heartbreaking, man. And
How
it
did it get
broke me. It
stolen?
really, oh my God. Where to even begin? Okay, so with the PlayStation 1, we had another neighborhood friend, and we used to, lend each other things a lot. So I lent him that, and it just kind of got kidnapped for a long time, and then it disappeared. Heard it, something got, broken down, and then he said, I'm trying to take it to the repairs, and then that was the last of it. So
Oh
now
no.
an unfortunate thing happened to my NES is what my golden china, aka my fake Nintendo, is. I had a school friend at the time who, I don't even know how this started, man. I still, Aubrey, you owe me a console. Let me explain the story. So this friend of mine, Aubrey, right? He told us he's got a cousin who has some nice game cartridges that we could get, and all we have to do is just to take my console to this guy's house. Now, this was a stranger we met on the road, but he claimed to know this guy. He said he was his cousin. So we followed him up the streets towards his house, which was not his house. And then he told us, wait outside. My parents, because of the whole thingy about video games, they wouldn't like to see a video game console, whatnot. So just give me your game and your console, and I'll be right back. And we waited 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour gone, and no one's there to be seen. And I asked my friend there, Aubrey, like, yo, dude, do you know that guy? And he says, you know what? Actually, he's not my cousin. I thought I knew him, but he isn't. Wow,
What?
this story never happened, man. Yeah, that broke my heart as well. I know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense till today. But surprisingly, these things are very common in the time. I don't know why. A lot of people have got similar ass stories of losing a cartridge, losing the console. Yeah. But then the console that I think led me to falling in absolute love with the medium was a PlayStation 2. At the time, my mother went to the UK, and she was working there for a couple of years. And I had thought when she asked me what I want, I wouldn't dare ask, because I knew at the time she was pretty much against gaming and whatnot. But after some years, I think it was 2-3 years, when she came back to Malawi, and she had a PlayStation 2 for me, and that just made my whole day, my whole year, my whole life, basically. I couldn't believe it, because I thought she was so against gaming. Yeah, so that changed my life, and yeah, that's pretty much where I played most of my beloved games on. Metal Gear Solid, which is my favorite title of all time, and yeah, that's that was a life changer right there. The PlayStation 2, oh yeah, I fell in love with that.
Okay, so I know that
He says the best gift I received from my best friend was a snowball to the face.
oh man, yeah. Mad disrespectful, absolutely. But I gotta ask now. I gotta ask you now, like, how did you end up getting your hands on an Xbox eventually? Because I believe you play Xbox and stuff now quite a bit. I think that's your I thought you said that was your main console before. Oh Lord, this man, God damn. Oh man, I'm going round for round on this sucker right now, man. We fighting for our lives for this stream today. Today we doing our dang thing. We trying to get this thing, man. This is tough. This is real tough. But anyways, I'm sure he's gonna be back here shortly. There you go, right there.
Forgive me, guys. This glitchy ass stream, man. My bad.
But anyways, I was asking you, how you ended up getting your hands on an Xbox eventually, because you've been talking about PlayStation and like the Nintendo and whatnot, but eventually you ended up getting your hands on Xbox, and I'm wondering, like, when did that become available to you and how?
Okay, so where to begin? Okay, so that PlayStation 2, that was 2000s. Okay, at some point, okay, this is pretty much some trauma bringing up, but that was interesting. So at some point, I became very religious. Is around 2000, I think 6, 7, 8. And for some reason, I just felt that, video games are bad for me and whatnot. And I didn't game for about 5 years, 4 or 5. So I missed a generation. I think I missed the PlayStation 3 generation. The Xbox 360. Yeah, I missed that. And yeah, my return was from PC. It wasn't even a gaming PC. It was just a regular old ass Intel HD PC. And then I managed to get a few games on it. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad after all. And then I bought a controller. Okay, so on the side, that was the 90s. The 90s, we didn't have any retailers. But I think from around 2000, we started to have a few people who would import, like shops would import PlayStations and consoles. So yeah, this is me trying to say, I think it got better through the years. Of course, for us, we did not know that there's more games out there. That's in the 90s when it comes to the family clone and whatnot. But I think from the 2000s, we had a lot of business people would import such electronics. So yeah, and I think by then gaming was becoming very common. Yeah, it was very common around the 2000s. I think most people in Malawi would say began gaming around 2000. I think.
Were you guys still carrying TVs to the bedroom?
So yeah, so back to my story. So when I took my break from around 2008, 9. Nah. At that time, I think it ended. Although I still hear some people still had that going on. I love to see that in the chat. If there are any of my African homies right there in the chat, please tell us more stories about the TV getting carried. But yeah, so yeah, by then I think the culture, people were simmering down. I think there was more media around the time. We had TV stations coming in. So fun fact, Malawi had its first TV station in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think that changed some things. Okay. Of course, I was still, I was kind of a PC guy around 2001, 2, 3. But yeah, for consoles, I think they really picked up around 2002. I mean, for most people, that is 2002 going upwards. Yeah, so yeah, but they are crazy expensive, though. I'll give you that. If you try to buy them locally, for example, I would say a PlayStation 5, which is about what, $500 your side, right? Around that. It's about $1,000 here.
Oh Lord.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but of course it's changed now because our currency is now shit. So if you factor that in, we might be back to, yeah. But still, yeah, that is generally the price. So you can imagine. So we're talking taxes, their markup, and whatnot. So yeah. So it is, but it is common. Gaming is common around these parts. It's just that you might find a lot of people playing older versions or whatnot. We don't have much. We do have a lot of physical stuff, but we don't get the latest stuff most of the time. Of course, with digital access and online payments, which are a bit of a struggle, not completely. It's made life easier now. So I would say, yeah, gaming now, I'd say from 2010 going upwards, is very different from what it was like in the 90s. And for us, we didn't know that we don't have these other games. So we'd mostly trade, right? Like you have your game CD. When you're done, I'm done with mine. With Switch, and everybody just basically owns everything. So that's how we basically discover our games, for the most part, anyways.
So I got a question then for you. Is it much more easy today to get whatever games that you want, seeing that things are digital now, or like being able to be sold digitally? Are you able to? Do you feel like your library is able to expand a lot easier than it was prior?
100%. Although I still find that a bit. My answer is a bit different from what others would say, because we do a lot of trading here. Well, I did a lot of that. Some people went ahead and bought their games. We do have some of the major retailers who sell CDs, but yeah, if you're looking for something, usually you just find it from someone else, and then you trade. They're probably done with the game anyways. So I would say yes, but it depends on how hungry you are. But yeah, but overall, I would say it is definitely easier now. Like I don't have to depend on someone else to have a specific game. So yeah, apart from the internet being expensive, of course, it's gotten a bit cheaper now. I think 4 years ago, a gig, like 1 gigabyte of data, was about was about almost $3 or $4. They're about like a gig of data. So yeah, it's gotten cheaper now. Yeah, so that makes a huge difference.
Okay, all right. And then I gotta ask you, like, these subscription services, are they like? Are you able to get like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Okay. So yes. That for me, that's been a life changer, man. Game Pass has opened up quite a lot of games to me that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get for myself without trading, or or just basically buying. Because I look at that, I'd probably in a year I'll probably buy about 3 or 4 games, or 2 at the very least, maybe 2 games. Now I can play way more games. I mean, apart from trading, of course, that's my own purchases, right? So yeah, now I'm able to play more games. However, there is a bit of a challenge because, of course, we have online payments now, but it's still not easy to get by them. You need to get permission from your bank, because the more forex, the more US dollars that we spend, that's bad for the country. They like to keep the forex in and not out. So if you're purchasing online, they like to limit that. So it's not all the way easy, but it's possible. And we aren't able to receive as well. So if you're doing like online jobs, like I do sometimes, you can't get direct payments like you do with PayPal. So there are those restrictions as well. But yeah, but it is, we're able to do so now. It's harder. Go to the bank once or twice to give you some feedback to tell you, we can't allow your card to make online purchases now. These excuses and things like that. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but when it works, it works like a charm.
So does sometimes does your like subscription lapse, and then sometimes you cannot make a payment? because they won't let you? Is that something that happens?
Yes, lately that's been the case. It wasn't the case when the country was doing kind of okay, but whenever they have these forex issues, uh, usually stemming from the fact that they can't buy any oil, petrol and whatnot, gas, I believe, you call it that. So if the country can't get gas, so they'll have to start to limit online payments. So yeah, that's been happening to me lately, a lot more. But when I do get around that, it's usually fine. Of course, it still sucks. You just like to have it work one time, and just right away. But yeah, that's that.
Damn, that's something. That's something else that you have to that you even
So
have
there's
to
a
worry
question
about
just
that.
saw from Rati. Isn't it better to buy Xbox credit free?
My
Yeah,
good.
it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. And I have a whole me who's worried about his Game Pass right now, and he keeps bugging me to say, "Yo, that's." Sometimes you have to do that. Yeah, you have to pay on behalf of someone else, or buy a gift card for someone else because the process is really it's kind of painful, to be honest. Not all the time, but yeah, when it is, it is.
Do you sometimes
So
ever
yeah,
just
that
like
that
make a
that part
lump?
sucks.
Do you ever sometimes make like a lump payment, just like a big one, just like give me it for like 6 more months and just like leave me alone?
I I I wish I could, but I always feel like it's a risk, man. Like I'm afraid, like, will I make the most of it? Okay, there was a time I think last year I didn't mind because I think the U.S. dollar to our currency um, exchange rate wasn't that bad, so I would have Game Pass and not even I'd hardly play Game Pass. I'd maybe play Valorant or Apex. Hardly play any Game Pass games, and I didn't mind. But then now that it's gotten more expensive to the dollar, it's a bit of a risk. You're like, okay, what's gonna happen? Is the power gonna go off for a long time? I'm gonna bust my Xbox to the point I can't play anymore. So for me, not quite. I'd rather still pay per month when I'm sure that okay, I'm gonna make the most of it. But I can't say that's a universal problem. I think some people like to stack. I haven't had to stack yet, but yeah, that's it.
That is wild, man. My lord. Just and all you're trying to do is just play some games and just kick back. And I mean, it's wild that sometimes you can't use your money in other countries and whatnot just because government issues, their own issues, are hampering you from being able to do what you want to do, which is nuts. Is it like that for purchasing anything else from other countries other than America?
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely. But then, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it's an everyday thing for everyone. I think it just depends. Some people probably have a very smooth experience, but it's not too uncommon in my experience. And sometimes when it does, like I said, sometimes when it does work like a charm, it just flows. Except for the part whereby now there's this problem as well, not just our country, but your stores that side might not accept it, even if you have the money or the cards or whatnot. They might not accept you from Malawi to actually buy something else from Xbox. Actually, that's the case. I have to switch my country just to South Africa or USA. That's my console setting. I can't
wild.
buy a digital game from Malawi. Exactly.
So you
So
got
VPNs are the way. That's the way it is. I'm telling you, man. That's the way it is. But I am noticing some change. Of course, some games it's not like that. But I think for both PlayStation and Xbox, I don't know why that is. I suppose it might have something to do with taxes. Maybe they might want to have some agreement with our local government for such expenditures or whatnot. I just suppose. But you're able to pay on some games like Valorant if you want to buy some skins and whatnot. So any other game, but I think the key Microsoft Store or the PlayStation Store doesn't accept payments directly from Malawi. I like to hear if there's a different story, but yeah. So we have to switch to South Africa, which is actually one of the countries that most stores allow when it comes to Africa.
Right. I know Loke says PlayStation is like the worst experience for him to try to like get new games and stuff like that, because he has to get like these little voucher cards, and sometimes he has to go to a third-party website that's not trustworthy, and he's had his card breached a few different times, and I'm just like, yo, that's wild.
Yeah, it's tough. But you know, the funny thing though is I think they know, because I've had to talk to customer support. So it's funny because I don't know how that works, because they know that your country store isn't, you changed your country store, but they know where you're from, because I've had to talk to Microsoft a few times, Microsoft support, for some issues that I had at some point. So I just wonder like what could be the reason. If anyone else knows, I'd love to know. But yeah, I really hope they really open up to more, because a lot of people are willing to pay, man. It's way better than having to trade all the time and whatnot. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, I mean, it is a good thing. At least you have the ability to find a way to do it. It's better than absolutely nothing at all. That's for sure. But let's talk a little bit more about the esports part. So do you have anything to share on that's coming in the future or anything like that?
Yeah. So yeah, where to start? So right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to co-opt our government to approve of esports as an official sport, a recognized sport in Malawi. As you can imagine, it wasn't exactly easy at the beginning. We're still in the process of doing that. At the same time, I would still like to recognize our government for doing its part. We got a chance to organize what was possibly one of the first African esports championships. There have been others, like privately run. Okay, so I'm not saying we're the first to do esports in Africa, but I would say government recognized esports competitions. We were the first to organize that 2 years ago, and the feedback was really wonderful. We had people who didn't give a toss about video games say, "Wow, I had no idea that this could be this fun." We had grown men. At first, we had a lot of pushback.
Naysayers,
not gonna lie, gatekeeping. Like, that's not a sport, because we had this multi sport event happening. We had soccer, we had volleyball and whatnot, and everyone was just like, "What the hell? That's not a sport." And when that happened, we had all these different people coming in suits and whatnot, and they enjoyed it, and they said, "I had no idea that I might enjoy something else like this." And so they told us that, okay, we might give you guys a shot if you just happen to organize a national esports competition. And that's what we're working on right now. I'm in the process of looking for some finances, sponsors. Of course, locally it's not been easy, but we're slowly making some headway towards that. And yeah, we're hoping that by the time we host something like that, and then we might have a different story for Malawi in that case. Yeah, plus there's a few opportunities as well that we've been plugged into across opportunities to play in different continents, but we have to qualify first. So yeah, we also do our own local competition before we get to that. So yeah, that's been going on with the challenges, but so good so far. So far, so good.
Oh, would you say that you're further than you thought you would ever get Or do you think that there's still so much more that you could provide?
Man, that's a good question. I always knew that it could get here, but there's still much more we could provide. It's been hard trying to convince our local sponsors, the ISPs and whatnot. Unlike South Africa, which is way more advanced than here, and the people there tend to, I mean, the people in the corporations that side are able to understand gaming is important, and this is a relationship between gaming and um, internet spending, right? So here we've had to cross over so many cultural barriers and try to explain that gaming is important. It's not just for the kids, but even when they think about the kids, like how much data are you spending? So we had like 3 years of on and off getting into meetings with big telcos this side, and I think that they're starting to get it, but then there's still a lot of red tape. So yeah, so there's that's the one challenge, is to have the proper finances that can allow us to make a quality esports production that could actually convince people who are not into esports to say, oh, this could get this good. So yeah, but I'm hoping this next 2 years, this year, next year, we should see a big change.
Okay. What to yourself would you say is like the coolest thing that you've dealt with so far while being an esports while being an esports ambassador in your country?
I think the coolest thing is having contacts outside Malawi, from all over the globe, that look at that when they think of esports and when they want to reach to the people who are organizing esports, being the go-to person. I'm not gonna lie, that's an amazing feeling, and yeah, it's pretty much validation, and that feels very good. We've had people from Singapore, people from Nigeria. I've made friends and contacts otherwise I would not have made if it wasn't for esports. So yeah, that's amazing. That's been an amazing feeling for me.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had myself muted. I was asking, do you guys think that you're on the cusp of anything, like of any type of breakthrough at all anytime soon? Like of any type?
Man, yeah. This is what it feels like, man. It feels like we're there. It's such a complicated place to be because the thing that we're going for, and have had been the first to pioneer esports in Malawi. Of course, there's a couple of other people who have also said in. Shout out to a couple of young people as well who have acknowledged us as well, said we inspired them. People were trying to pursue esports and made esports teams because we provided some opportunities and some new organizers as well. So we do feel like we're at the cusp, but at the same time, it feels so daunting because you feel like time is running out because we need to hit these milestones before a certain date, because our government has given us a certain window to do certain things. And then there's also new parties who are now interested. Some of them, fair enough, they want to get into esports, but if I'm honest, some of the players are not quite well-meaning. Unfortunately, it's kind of political and it's rather unfortunate, but it's really common around these parts. I know it's been happening in South Africa as well. I don't know how much Osseous in the chat is plugged into esports, but you've had these situations where if, say, there's an opportunity, right? Say an international opportunity to organize some esports games. Some esports tournaments? What would happen is if the person who gets the message is working at a high-ranking office, say in government or somewhere else, and they've heard of it and they see that there's some money involved, they would rather push that to some people they know, even if they don't know a thing about esports. So that's the absolute heartbreaking thing. That is kind of a risk around these parts. But yeah. But otherwise, I'm not gonna lie, we feel like we're at the cusp. We feel like we're close, and it's not been easy, but I would say the past 2 years have been a little smoother than the first ones. But yeah, we've had to self-fund. It is progress. We've had to self-fund most of the tournaments with very little help because we can't get the major players to get into this. But yeah, but we're close. We're close. People are listening. I've been called to a few meetings with big telcos who started to pay attention. They seem like they still need some convincing. They don't get why this is necessary for just gaming. But yeah, we're close.
Yeah. You're getting more yeses today than you were yesterday.
Oh, yes. 100%, man. 100%. And some people just end up reaching us before we actually reach them. So there's been a lot of that. So it's been a lot of validation. Yeah. Shout out to one of the people who did and supported us. I got to make new friends. Levi Cabato, if you're out there. Yeah, that's one of the champions who just came through, I think, last December. He backed one of our events from his own pocket. And we didn't even know each other. He just said, you know what, I love what you're doing. I want to support this. So yeah, so that's been happening.
Okay. Here's an interesting question I got for you. I'm kind of curious, like, who was like the person or like what firm, company, or government piece do you feel like you got to turn their heads in agreeance to what you're trying to do, that you just like were kind of taken back and you're like, oh man, I can't believe I'm getting support from these folks? Like who, like what people are you very proud to have said, yo, we got the support from these dudes?
Okay. In government or just in
general?
Let's see. Okay, I would say I don't think we've had institutional support yet, but we've had people, like individual support from people in these institutions. So some of them the rest of the departments might not agree. This side we have what we call the Sports Council. It's like a ministry. I'm not sure what it's like in the US, but I reckon you must have like some bodies or departments. So we have the sports side of it that's run by our government, and we have people inside of it who said, we love what you're doing. And yeah, they're basically some of the people who actually helped push to make what happened 2 years ago, the whole multinational sporting event. They're the ones who co-opted it. They're the ones who pushed and who keep encouraging us. So yeah, there's been that. But also, not in Malawi though, but what's known as the Global Esports Federation. And I know you guys aren't big in soccer, but I know most of you know what FIFA is.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least the video game. But then there's the body, right? FIFA, the body. So a couple of people across overseas, I think Singapore and the UK, have come up with a body called the Global Esports Federation. And that's set to be like the mother body of esports. Yes, of course, esports grew from private institutions or whatnot, but then there's these public institutions that are coming up, and there are benefits to that. Maybe we can get into that later. But yeah, so those guys, like the Global Esports Federation, they saw it fit to actually have us as a member. So we've got a proper certificate with them, and we're affiliated, like officially. If they need people in esports in Malawi and one of the people in Africa, we're definitely recognized. So that is a very huge accomplishment for us. Yeah, but yeah, there are some individuals from different parts who have recognized that at one point. Okay, this is too spicy. I don't think it's safe for me to talk about this right now because it's rather it involves some very important people. So
Okay.
yeah, so I won't be able to speak about that, but there's a certain body that so I won't mention what body it was, but a certain body I was approached by we were approached by someone else from a certain important body in one of the government agencies. I can't say which one, and they asked us to write a proposal for them to do with esports. And we were excited, naturally, like, oh wow, you guys want to have esports, you know? And we wrote it, and we were told that, you know, you guys will come over to help organize it since you guys understand what it is all about and whatnot. And much to our disappointment, when we sent over what we wrote, because we're writing it on behalf of them for some other sponsors, right? They managed to get sponsorship, and we were never called. And the person who contacted me just cut out, like he just stopped responding. So they got to get this equipment that we had been hoping for and whatnot. And yeah, so that was quite daunting. But then yeah, so in a way it was a win to say, okay, so these guys are paying attention now. Only that they're using it for their own, you know.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of
yeah,
of your needs and getting it for themselves.
Exactly.
That's too bad. That's too bad. But I want to kind of take I want to kind of take a step back into the earlier times of you in esports. And I want you to kind of break down what made you even kick it off.
That's a very good question. Okay, I think I've always, for some time, I think since 2011, since 2014, I had it was a fantasy at first. Like, dude, it would be cool. It was just a cool thought. Like, it would be cool to have tournaments. Back then, in my head, I didn't think about esports. I was just thinking gaming tournament. It would be cool to have that. So I kind of nursed that. I used to run a media agency, marketing materials, stuff like that, advertising and whatnot. And then I thought, you know what? It would be cool if I could use like gaming as a tool for marketing. But then it was just, for me, it was a silly excuse to just game, right? But then I'm thinking this would be a cool thing to sell, like a new thing to our local companies decide to say, hey guys, you know, you guys can have gaming at your events, right? But for me, I'm thinking this is an excuse to just have cool shit happening. So I started nursing things like that until I came across just my partner, Godfrey Moto, in a video game. That's PUBG Mobile. So when I came across him, and at the time, we used to talk, I would say, like strategy in the game and whatnot, and then talk about life from a video game perspective and whatnot. And then I thought, okay. And then he, you know, I noticed that he's a thinker. I appreciated how he thinks. He thinks about the future. He thinks about contributing to his country and whatnot. And then we said, hey, look, wouldn't it be cool to just bring people together to have like a PUBG Mobile contest and just see where that goes? At this time, we're not thinking about esports. We're just thinking about a tournament. So we called it. But then when we did our first tournament for $10, translate our currency. and the response was just amazing. I still got the poster from back in the day, and people just loved it, and they said we need more. So the response from that pushed us to start to look into organizing more. So I had to do some more research and whatnot, and then we realized that, hey, we don't have esports in Malawi. Yeah, people do play their own one-off tournaments, but we don't have esports in Malawi. And here we are meeting people. We have a community of people who play the game like every day. And then we thought this would be a cool way to give some money for to young people who didn't have any form of income, especially college kids at the time. You know, you'd college, you're broke, or in high school, and all you do is probably game off of your mom's or dad's internet, right? And we thought this would be a cool thing to do. So we then pitched to the friend of mine pitched to this friend of his, who unfortunately now passed away. But I would say he pushed us the most. His name was CJ. We called him, and what he did when he heard the idea, he said, "You guys are sitting on gold." That's what he told us. Now, I am coming from a background where I've done a lot of entrepreneurship on my own. I had a tech blog at some point, which is now defunct. I used to blog about tech and whatnot. I was like the little The Verge, country. That's what I was doing at the time. And I had experienced failure because at the time, internet access in Malawi was very poor. So penetration was very poor. Like only a few people we used to visit any websites in Malawi. So I was way too ahead. Like I couldn't get the viewers I needed for the content I was making at the time. So I kind of quit doing that. So I was kind of traumatized from doing business in Malawi in a way, especially tech related business. Like, okay, this is a cool idea, but it doesn't work for our country because, not a lot of people can afford to visit the wider internet because it's too expensive at the time. So I believed in the idea, but I didn't have enough guts to go on with it. So when we told this guy, he said, "No, you guys are sitting on gold. Go and meet one of the government agencies responsible with sports and talk to them." So that's what pushed us to that. It was a validation from him, I guess. Like, no, I like your idea. Write it down, and so I believed in it, but I thought it was just too crazy for the country, especially where we were at a couple of years ago when the internet was very expensive. So yeah, that was a major game changer.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So now I gotta ask, like, pertaining that, what is it like recruiting folks to do esports for you guys? And let me ask one other thing.
To play or to organize?
Do you recruit outside of your living area?
Okay. Do you mean people who play or organize, or both in this case?
Both in this case, yeah.
Okay. So it's been easy, I would say, to have players, because there wasn't a lot of this happening in the country. We were like the first. I mean, there were people would just do one-off tournaments, and not even online tournaments. They would do like physical tournaments. So we were probably one of the first people to host online gaming tournaments for a prize. No, we were the first, not even one of that I know of, at least. So at a large scale. So when we did that, people were already playing the game, and then if you already spend hours and hours in a game, and there's a chance to make money from it, and it's free entry, that was a seller right away. So we had like hundreds of people come in. We have a community as well on WhatsApp, which is one of the popular platforms this side, with about I think almost 200 people now. And on Facebook, we have a Malawian Facebook group with over 60,000 people. We didn't create that platform, the online. That's just gamers from Malawi. There's over 60,000 gamers there, of course, playing different kinds of games. So it was easy. I'm not gonna lie. Like people just ran to us like a magnet. So when it comes to now recruiting for organizing, initially it was easy because people were like, whoa, you're doing a cool thing. I want to be a part of that. But then when it comes to the hard work, because this is hard work, you have the graphics, you have the business department, which is not easy because we're still trying to convince people this side. So over time, would have people just basically quit, like, all right, we're not going anywhere. So yeah, we love what you guys are doing. I loved it, but I can't keep this up because, you know, it's not paying the bills at the moment. So yeah, but otherwise we do have a lot of support. A lot of people cheering us on, like a lot of moral support. I'm very thankful for each and every message. Every time we do something, even before that, I get messages in my inbox, just cheering me on and say, you're doing good, you're doing great. And yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, man, we have a lot of love from our fans and people just cheering us on. So it's one of the things that keeps us going is that, like, we love what you're doing, keep going. So yeah,
that's phenomenal. I mean, that's really cool, and I bet it's like, you know, it's heartwarming, right? Because you're doing something that you're passionate about, and you're getting the acknowledgement that you look for in something that you're passionate about at the same time. So it's just like, just awesome on top of awesome on top of dope, right? Like, it's just good. It's just good stuff. But I want to kind of turn it,
man. Dude. It feels great, man. Just yeah.
I kind of want to turn it into a weird direction real quick, and I want to ask you, like, what are the fears of running an esports program in your country, area, and whatnot?
What are the fears?
Yes.
Doing esports or just living in the country in general?
Well, let's start with esports, and then and then after you speak about the esports, then talk about the country, maybe.
Okay. Honestly, this is going to sound so very weird, but I honestly, personally, I'm gonna speak for me. Where I am now, I don't have a fear anymore when it comes to esports. I think I've seen the proof. Because I have met people who reached out to me first, who are very important people, high up, and they thought that we were worth speaking to. And for me, that was enough validation to say, dude, because we wrote these things in the first year to say, we're making a plan. We would like to have our players participate in international competitions. And also, we're not able to get them to travel yet. We've had them play for qualifiers and whatnot. And we've had the experience of actually organizing with people who are far more experienced than us. That validation is just a lot. I can't go back from that. If anything, all I have left to do is just fight until I see it happen. So yeah, but some of the fears that I do see from some of the colleagues are things like, we'll be able to sustain this thing because, you know, we haven't yet gotten to get a very huge backer here, because they just don't get it, or they get it but then they're still slow to pitch up. But yeah, again, I say, if we manage to get the attention of all these guys across the world, then yeah, I have no fear as far as that. When it comes to the country, though, I'm afraid of another devaluation of our currency. We've already had that. Like, our currency was devaluated by 45%.
Oh my God! You didn't
exactly.
You didn't
so if you
10, you didn't say 10%.
Nope.
You didn't say 15%. You said 45%. Almost half.
Almost half, exactly. Almost half our savings were gone. I think from is it November last year, November or October, around that. I'm not gonna lie, that pissed me off
Oh
personally.
yeah.
It pissed me off big time.
All your money, like if you had $100, now you got 50.
Exactly. So that pissed me off. So
you got 1,000, now you got 500. Like that's a problem.
Exactly. So that is a fear, in a way, and that makes me think. I've been told, leave the country, man. You got great ideas. Your ideas would work so much quicker elsewhere, and I'd like to stay here and contribute something to my community. Not just leave. But when that happened, you're like, shit.
Yeah, you got to contemplating. You got to thinking about it.
Exactly. But then again, look at how far I've gone with the esports. We're like, okay, we just need to see this through. A lot of people are counting us as well. A lot of gamers would love this to happen. So it kind of gives you the sense that you're doing something for more than yourself. So it's worth giving it a shot at. And yeah.
Do you think at all it'd be beneficial for yourself at all to maybe leave, get a bigger, better, or like more of a stronger foundation, and then come back and then give, like LeBron did with Cleveland? He left, went to the Heat, came back even stronger. More people wanted to get on the team and play with him. He didn't have so much pushback, and the championship came.
I would have thought that, except for the fact that, like I said, we're at the cusp. Okay. So it's a very weird feeling. I if it wasn't for that, I think I would have felt that, but I can't, because we've just managed to do a couple of things on our own, and we're like, okay, we're so close. We've spoken to important people. We've met a few government officials. We've met a few telco big heads that put us in boardrooms that otherwise we would not have been in. They've called us for meetings that we didn't call for, to talk about gaming, to understand like what is it you guys are doing. So we're too far in. Yeah, I'm a bit too far in.
Deep.
I'm in too deep, man. I'm in too deep, man. I'm at a point of no return, unfortunately, or fortunately. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens.
I'd say fortunately, because you're where you wanted to originate it and get it going. You've had a rocky you've had some rocky moments, sure, but that happens with anything that people are trying to do. It just is on a uncontrollable level, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's something to be proud of, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, but other than that, the esports thing, or doing anything, no, I'd like to think anywhere else, but in our country, I think it still helps you, in a way. It adds to your resume. You get to meet people. So sometimes I might have met, someone else because of esports, but they might then discover that, okay, you do graphic designing, can you do this for me? And then, that's some money for me as well, or other opportunities as well. So I like to think of doing certain projects as more than just about the money, but as an experience that could open doors and get you to either learn or access new platforms that you otherwise wouldn't have. So in a way, yeah, gaming and esports has done quite a lot for me in a way, and I'm yet to still savor all of that, and I think it would happen. It's happening over time, So yeah, it's something.
Gotcha. All right, so you just had brought up money, and money is a big factor throughout this thing. How is it trying, like is this a job that you're trying to like get money from, or is this like a side kind of gig that you're doing, or like I'm just wondering, like how easy could a person live off of being an esports person from where you guys are right now?
You can't live off of being an esports person in Malawi. I reckon almost anywhere from what I've seen as well.
Yeah, for the most part.
But exactly. So it's probably even worse here. But I think it's the feeling of, what could I say, the cause or the duty, because like I said, we were the first to organize esports in Malawi, and yes, there's other people now who are starting to do that as well, but the fact that it still hasn't happened for us, and then we're close to have it happen for other people, because we're talking about organizing, but organizing will also breed teams. I'm not going to run a team, but someone else will want to come in and run teams. And I've seen gamers who are passionate about gaming. They talk about gaming every day. So when you host a tournament, for them, you're giving them life in a way, you know? You're giving them hope. So,
well, it's like you're giving them a future to look forward to, right?
Exactly, and that's a future I'm looking forward to too. So, I would have loved to be a participant in these competitions, but I can't because I have to be the one organizing.
Right.
So, having been the first in this country to do that is kind of a thing whereby you'd be like, okay, screw that. I know I have to carry this cross for the sake of others. I'm not saying I'm not gonna benefit. I'm pretty sure we will, but it's more important that we get it done. That will follow after. So for me, it's like, I would have said it's a side thing, but it's grown so big and so important that it's not fully a side thing. It's now like a part of what I do on top of whatever else I do. So I do that as a passion, but I do see, especially depending on how this year goes, because if we do happen to run an esports federation, I don't know what you call them that side, but like create the NBA of esports in Malawi, you see, we'll be charged with the duty of doing that. So yeah, that's one way to live off of that. But I don't see it as a job to say, okay, I'm gonna make money from this. Although I do know, I've earned some benefits, of course, here and there, but very wide and far apart. And that's not the cause of doing this. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, man. It really doesn't hurt. Hey, Matt, welcome to the chat.
Oh, it's cracking. Good to see you, Matt. Thanks for stopping through. So the next kind of question that I had for you, kind of slipped my mind a little bit. I'm trying to reconjure it up. What does something like what does something like a future hold for you in this? Like, what is like the next expectation that you're kind of reaching out and trying to grab right now?
That's a very good question. So what we need to do in Malawi is to have our government approve an esports association. Now, I'm trying to see how to explain it best to what it's like that side. The NBA is privately owned, right? NBA, NFL, that's private, right?
I believe so. Yeah. I want to say so.
Okay.
Here, just a second.
Yeah. Let's look it up.
Yep. It's a privately held company. Yep.
Okay. So, So in our country, how do I put this? I would say the major organizers of sporting events, they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily government, but it's like quasi-government. It's like you come up with an idea and say, this is what we'd like to do, and then the government would sort of facilitate that.
Yeah, regulate it.
Right? Or rather, we'll give you the chance to regulate that. If
Okay.
I'm making sense, with some form of support, not full blown support, but some form.
They're
of
pretty
support.
much saying, "Hey, give us these rules so we can say it's cool."
Yeah, exactly. And then in return, what they'll do is they'll give us guidelines as well to say this is how you need to run a sports association or league. You have these guardrails, so it helps. It does help, and in some cases, sometimes they do throw some money your way to just. It's not like to cover everything, but to help you push, right? So,
Yeah, to make sure you get. I mean, they pretty much want to put a little in on it just so they can say, you know, they took care of you.
Exactly. And I think that's very important in around these parts. I don't think there's.
Yeah, they want to look positive, right? They want they
Exactly.
want to look like, hey, you know, governments always get a bad rap for something. So if we can get a good rap for something, then we're gonna take it, and that's what they're trying to do.
And that's the way major sports activities happen. I think in a lot of Africa, for example, I mean, what you guys call soccer, we call football this side as well. It's like if you want your soccer team to travel for the World Cup, the government would help facilitate, you know, the costs of that. And of course, you'd have to get sponsors as well. So where we are at now is we are at the brink of getting approved for like an association or kind of like an agency that will look after esports in Malawi. So that would include creating an ecosystem or guardrails for an ecosystem in esports in Malawi, and help people who might be interested in, you know, being entrepreneurs in esports, but also provide support to players, you know, who might want to get into that. So yeah, that's where we're at. So that's the next step. That's why we said we're at the cusp, because we've been talking to the government agency arm responsible for the sporting side, or rather the government sanctioned bodies that look after sports, and they've acknowledged us or semi-acknowledged us and said, okay, we hear you guys, we are now considering you guys into the whole fraternity of sports in Malawi, and would like to see, but just do this for us first. So that's what we'd like to do. Exactly. So this is also why it's important, because it's kind of a big deal. This side, it will become a national deal. You know, probably breaking news, like esports is now an official sport, recognized.
Have you guys had any kind of like TV appearances or like any kind of like news coverage based off of the work that you put out?
Yes, we have. If you look up KOTG Esports, I'm wearing the hoodie, by the way, King of the Grid Esports. That's the name of our.
That's a dope name, by the way.
Thank you very much. That's the name of our esports company. If you look that up, you should see something. Or if you look up African Esports Championship 2022, we organize that. So yeah, that, or Esports Malawi, I think we should be top of the list. So that's been our it's been some coverage. It's not a whole lot, but it was good. It was a good feeling. Yeah, it was some recognition.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of you, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
That's really cool. My last question that I have to ask you before we move on to some of the kind of quick hitter questions before we get up out of here is I want to ask you what it's like to have like or like if you've had to deal with any adversity in the sense of like competition.
Oh, okay. That's actually a very good question. Okay, we are welcoming to competition in the sense of just getting into esports. We want that. We don't want to be a monopoly. We want that. That's good, because I'm not.
That means it's growing.
Exactly. I mean, you know, what happens to esports is if I go away or if I pass away, God forbid.
Or if you decide to move and grow something else.
Exactly. So
then you're leaving a legacy here.
Exactly. So I want to see that. Although there's been, like, because we've been trying to push for that government thing, and then I did did some reference to something in the past that there were some people who were trying to undercut us in that because you can only have one government sanctioned agency or association to look after that. So there's been that. So that's been a thing of concern a little bit. But otherwise, we do want competition. I do want to see more people coming in, and I'm willing to actually see them come in because I'm probably not going to be an organizer all the time. When we manage to get what we want to get out of the government, we're going to focus on other things. Probably formulate a super team or something. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be an organizer forever. We're probably just going to be the forerunners of it. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I mean, that's amazing, man. Like I said, congratulations on all of your hard work. I know that's not something easy to do. Hell, it's not even easy for you just to keep up on your Game Pass subscription. So so doing this on a larger scale to where you gotta rely on this, that, and a third, and then take care of stuff yourself, and you're not even doing this to be able to play it yourself. You're trying to see other people have a good time and whatnot. I mean, hats off to you, brother. Really good job. Really good job.
Thank you so much, man. Means a lot.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Definitely. But I definitely want to hit. Oh, okay. I definitely want to hit some of these quick hitter questions before we get up out of here, just so people can get a good idea of, what you think about games in certain ways and like how you play games and stuff like that. So the first question that I'm going to go on ahead and ask you is, what would be RJ's most beloved console of all time?
PlayStation 2, baby.
Okay.
PlayStation 2. Oh man, memory.
But anyways, no, you good. Now PlayStation 2 is fire. What was your what was the hottest game for you on that console entirely?
Metal Gear.
Oh yeah.
3. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Okay, 3 specifically. Okay, gotcha. All right, and then going from there, what would you say is the most memorable moment that you've had in your gaming history in general? And I want you to be kind of specific. Don't just say esports or this game. Like, what specifically was a moment where you're like, man, I'll look back and never forget this?
Shit. Oh, okay. Man, I feel like there's a few, but I think making a lifelong friend. I made of course, I think we have a clip. I need to check if we still have that clip up on YouTube. I made a friend. I think my first time to play games online, fully live service, was actually PUBG Mobile. So yeah, I made a lifelong friend from there, from Libya. We otherwise would not have met if it wasn't for gaming. So for me, it's just games, but it's kind of more than games. The people I meet online, yes, I know you can't always trust what you see online and whatnot, but I've really made some friends. My business partner today as well is someone I met online in a game, and we hadn't met for almost a year, and we were already working on business on esports as well. So to me, gaming is just a medium to be yourself. So
that's awesome. Isn't it pretty nuts that you went from having your TV taken out of the room by your parents and you can't even talk about gaming, and now you meeting people in other countries that are helping you get stuff sorted out and stuff like that, and now you're talking to government officials to get gaming going? Like bro, that come up is strong.
Yeah, man. When you say it like that, it makes me realize how big that is. Sometimes you're too in it. I might say these things, but sometimes I don't realize just how much.
Well, yeah, you do it day to day. You don't. Sometimes you don't step back and look at and you know, sometimes you're so busy, you know, looking through the windshield of the car that once you bust out your phone and look at your like GPS and you're like, oh shit, I went that far. Okay. And that's what I'm more or less saying is like you're now able to kind of step back and look at your map and see, man, I've traveled from here all the way to here, and it was a big jump. You know what I'm saying? It was a moon leap, right?
True say, man. True say, 100%, man. I'm thankful all in all. I'm thankful.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. I also want to ask you, what are the best 3 games that you've played in the last year? They do not have to be brand new games, but I just want to know the last year, the best 3 games that you played.
Last year, or last 2 years?
No, just the last year. Just last year.
It was Red Dead 2. I know I'm late, guys. I'm late.
Don't matter. It don't expire. It don't expire.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Far Cry 5. That was an amazing experience for me. Yeah. A third. What was that? Must be something that I talked to. What was that? I'm mixed up, but I don't know why Valorant comes up on top. So I'm just gonna put that. I know it's kind of a little crummy to mention a live service game, but nah, Valorant has been major for me as well, inspirational for me in other ways as well. So yeah, I'm gonna put Valorant there as well on top.
Okay, no, ain't nothing wrong with that. If it's your favorite, it's your favorite. There's a lot of people that say Halo, a lot of people that say Call of Duty. You know, it ain't nothing wrong with that. But what is your favorite? Like I'm not sure if you like if you pay close attention to this or not. But do you have a favorite game studio? And if you do, what game studio or what game best represents that studio?
Yeah. I'm gonna give you 2 answers, and I have a very good reason for that.
Okay.
I think when I back in the past, not in the long past, but EA was big, like EA big. You give us Def Jam, what's it called?
Like NFL Street and stuff like that.
Exactly. Exactly. We had these amazing games from EA, including NFS, but right now it's Riot Games, and I have a reason for this, and that's because of the esports production. It moves me. Those guys really love the game. And I see it. The voice acting. Exactly. I see it in the voice acting. I see it in the esports production, and it inspires me. So I don't like any of the other games. I don't like League. I'm sorry to all you League fans. I don't like any of the other Riot games, but I love them for Valorant esports because they're doing so many amazing things in esports, and I think they're probably one of the best esports producers on the planet right now. So yes, Riot Games.
I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree with you on that one. It's pretty well known that Valorant don't fuck around, and Riot has a few games. Riot has a few games. It's not just Valorant. Riot has a few games that are nuts in esports.
Exactly. League is big.
Yeah, League of Legends. Yo, LOL. That shit ain't that. Yo, that shit is wild. And it's just a massive game. Absolutely massive. Okay, so Riot Games it is for you. And I'm actually interested in knowing, do you like what did you think when you seen that Riot Games were going into Game Pass? Did that help you at all, or did that not?
So in the Game Pass?
Yeah.
Sorry, say that. Oh, Game Pass?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. It didn't. Because I play Valorant, and that's a free game, and all they did was just add these perks. They're not that big, but it's still kind of fun for me as an Xbox guy, because when you log into Valorant, you have all the characters unlocked. So it's not much of a perk, but I kind of like that. So I can't say it's added any true or great value. I just love to log in with my Microsoft account. So
Okay, so
not
it's
much.
just like the
But yeah.
sprinkles on top of the ice cream. It don't really do nothing, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Gotcha. All right, and this is going to be a pretty exciting question. This is one of my favorite questions to ask everybody. And
Okay.
I got one question before that actually. So I'm gonna pause on that real quick. What game are you most excited for that's coming in the future? It doesn't matter how long in the future. Oh, okay, you got it. My bad.
How long? No, I thought you meant this year. Shit.
No. I'm just talking about in the future.
Blade. Oh, Blade. I want to see Blade. I cannot wait to Blade. I don't want to die before I get to play Blade. Do you ever have that sometimes? Like, oh shit, when the Marvel Universe, when the whole lineup was coming, you're like, shit, 2026, are we gonna make it, guys?
Hey man, you never know. This world, you think it's gonna be a nice sunny day, and then something fucked up happens. So like, you never know what's gonna happen. You never know what's around the next corner, right?
Blade for me. What about you? What about you, Ham?
So for me, I'm really intrigued to see what Arc 2 looks like. It sounds lame, but I just want to see, because they have marketed it so wildly and just make it sound like a totally different game than what the first one was. So I'm really intrigued by that. Other than like Arc, I'd have to say I'm most excited to see what Perfect Dark's gonna look like on Xbox. It seems so far away.
I see.
I don't know.
I see that.
But yeah, in the short term, I agree with you. Hellblade. In the short term, Hellblade. I'm very excited for that. Also, I think Indiana Jones will be pretty interesting. It'll be wild playing in first person in one of those type of games, because usually, Uncharted or Tomb Raider, those are all third person games. So this will be the first time that you're doing puzzle type games of this nature in first person. So I think that'll be interesting.
Indeed. Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so now back to one of my favorite questions. If you were to revive two dead IP games, games from the past that aren't around anymore, what two games would you bring back and give like limitless budget to?
Okay. This is a bit of a cheat because we had an announcement, but it's still very close to me. Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh, yo, okay.
I love to see that, and that's also because
that game was hot.
A friend of mine in the neighborhood, a friend of mine in the neighborhood who had an Xbox. He was one of the first people I knew that had an Xbox. Actually, only people in the past in Malawi, because it's easier to get PlayStation. I'm not sure why, but that's also interesting. Yeah,
it's just big. It is just bigger, bigger name at that time.
At the time, but why? Makes you think what is Xbox always doing wrong every generation anyway.
Well, think of it this way: like the first PlayStation wasn't super easy for you to get, right?
Yeah, it wasn't easy
because it was the first. So, but like now that PlayStation's come out, now there's a PlayStation 2, that's now popular, so people understand that name, know what they're gonna get. But now Xbox is new. So now Xbox is what the PlayStation 1 was for you guys.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's always a little bit behind in that aspect.
Yeah. Jet Set Radio on top. And I'm going to go for something which I suppose not a lot of people might know, but Danger Girl on PlayStation 1.
I don't know that. What the hell is that?
It was based off this comic book. You should look up. I'm not sure you might like the game, or you could play a PlayStation 1 game anymore. But the comic books are pretty
you
fire,
guys see
man.
all these old ass consoles over here,
Woo!
bro?
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Look at all
There
this
we
stuff
go.
over here, bro.
All right,
Like-
I was not familiar with your game, Ham. My apologies.
Yeah, get
So
familiar.
Danger Girl. Yep, I will. So you should check out the comic books as well, man. Danger Girl was pretty fire, man. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I don't know where it went to. I suppose
Yeah,
you
it
just
look
saw
like a
PlayStation 1,
sexy
but-
kind of girl. I'm over here looking at this.
Hey, yo,
It's like
yo,
a little
yo.
bayonetta going on. What's happening here?
I'm saying, man. I'm saying.
Hey, I might have to cop this joint if I can find it. That look hot. I like that. I don't
Look
mind.
it
a
up.
little- Yeah, man, I'm cool with that. I like it. Let's go. All right. So I see
I
you.
hope-
You're a man of some culture. I see
So to speak. Allegedly.
it. All right. All right. Well, now I'm down to my last few questions for the show before we get up out of here. The first one is what in gaming in general, esports, whatever, however you want to think of this, frustrates you?
Oh man, toxicity. If we don't agree on something, whether it's in-game strategy or console wars, Just
Yeah,
not
like
being able
general
to-
belief.
Exactly. Like, it's cool to disagree. We don't have to get all serious and call each other names and cuss at each other. That's pretty annoying and frustrating. And yeah, I'm not proud about us as a community about that.
Yeah, that's why I really respect and had you on here today, because like we had our disagreements about, certain things with AI. We had our disagreements with how Xbox is handling certain things, but that didn't take away a friendship, or a
Exactly.
possibility of a friendship or something like
Exactly.
that, because it's not that deep. It's not that deep. This is a hobby, and a hobby for fun at that. You know what I'm saying? So like taking it personal, hating on people, calling people out of their names, unnecessary and tasteless. Honestly.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
so when I can heavily disagree with somebody, and I mean heavily disagree with somebody, me and you, I was getting loud on my podcast, and you were like, yo, think about this, man. Did you actually think about this? And I'm just like, yo, yeah, I thought about that. Fuck that. And, we were having our back and forths, but at the end of the conversation, it was all gravy.
Oh,
It
no.
wasn't nothing to trip out about, and nobody took anything personal. So once I noticed that, I was like, oh, like he's not like blocking me on Twitter and shit like that and getting all
Oh
pissed.
shit! You've had that? Are you saying you've had that? I'm a bit
Oh
shocked.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
man.
You have a little talk with somebody and they disagree with you or something like that, and they start calling you out your name, or they take something personal, or they call you a phony person because you believe something that they don't,
Man,
that they
that's-
block you
yo.
or something like that. Oh yeah, that type of stuff survives a little more than it absolutely should as of right now.
Oh,
And and that's something that I really admired about you, because you just were just like, it just is what it is. We just disagree. Fuck it.
Absolutely, man. I mean,
Yeah, so-
let's get
so-
to
so-
gaming.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's get back to what we're here for in the first place, which is the hobby that we both enjoy. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. All right. So, and then my last question is, what would be a dream come true for you in gaming? And I want you to be kind of selfish with this. Think about yourself, not so much just the general community.
Oh man, it's still gonna be that in a way, but this is a selfish sense. I want more games to have African servers. We do have some that do, but I want more games to have African servers because it's pretty shitty to always play on high ping.
So I get that. It's like a constant disadvantage.
Yep. Although, man, we whoop ass. We go in Europe servers and still whoop ass. But it's
but then their excuse is their ping is all messed up, man.
They do. Yes, they do that. And they don't know what it's like playing on high ping because you have a constant delay. And we're out here just fucking up people, and they're like, "Come on, it's not fair. You have high ping." I'm like, dude, I died because of high ping, so we had to adapt and find ways to play, considering that. So when it comes to shooters, we pre-fire. Before you hit a corner, you're ready. You're ready to shoot.
I hate them dirty motherfuckers.
But hey, more games now are having African servers. I think that also reignited my passion for Valorant, which I keep mentioning. But yeah, they added African servers last year. Absolutely in love. It was really a game I love. So when they added that, it's like yippee, let's go. Exactly. So
well, man, that's an amazing thing to wish for, right? Because that's not very selfish, right? Because that helps out everybody.
It does. Continues. But I'm looking at me though.
it just continues to help and support your hobby, not just for yourself, but also for your community and the people that you're trying to do this for, to give them a smoother experience and stuff like that. Shout out to Uso, Vinny, Matt Likes Games. Oh no, it's Alex. He popped up in the chat for a little bit. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. This has been a phenomenal interview where I got to know somebody that I frequently argue with whenever he hops onto my whenever he hops on to bull sitting on Fridays. So I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to have a peaceful conversation where we just got to chill and just kind of get to know each other a little bit. That was really cool, man. I really appreciate your time. But what I need you to do, there's two things I need you to do before we get up out of here. First thing I need you to do is let everybody know one last time where they can find you. I'm going to try to put it up on the screen, at least your Twitter, because I like to have people actually see the people. Just so they can understand, I'm on the right side or at the right place in case they're looking for you, especially since you're trying to do your esports and stuff like that. I want to try to broadcast this the best that I can for you, brother. So go on ahead and let everybody know where they can find you.
I Captain RJay on Twitter, or X as it is now. I do have a Twitch. It's not the personal Twitch. It's not been active, but I think in the coming month or so, I will be very active. So hop in on my Twitch, Captain RJay. Don't be pushed away by the lack of content at the moment. But I'm pretty much more on YouTube than Twitch, even though you might not see a lot of content there. I think there's a little bit more on YouTube than there is on Twitch. Because Twitch, the whole video on demand thing is pretty limiting. So yeah. And I want to say Xbox, but the problem is if you're in America, we probably can't play some games together. But unless they're these games that are not very ping oriented, I'm happy to play those. So Captain RJay on Xbox, I will follow back. So yeah, that's that.
That's what's up. And as you guys see, there's a Twitter profile right there. Am I Captain RJay? There it is right there. Thanks so much for everybody coming here and checking out the stream today. It's been a blast. Been a really good time. Got to know RJay a lot better. RJay, I do have one last question, like I said, for you. Yes, and that question is, or it's not really a question, it's more like a request. Okay. I'm going to ask you to describe gaming in just 3 words.
Oh. Whew. Shit. 3 words. Magic. Does it have to be a sentence? Just 3 separate words?
No, it can just be 3 words.
Okay. magic, arts, creativity. That's it.
All right, magic, art, and creativity. That's the way RJ looks at gaming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to TSWS Gaming today. As I got to talk to Mr. RJ about his gaming history. If you haven't yet, go on ahead and hit that like button, share this sucker out, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd be much appreciated. I do interviews every Thursday at various times. Most of the time it's 8 p.m. Eastern, but RJ's all the way on the other side of the planet. So I had to, accommodate a little bit. We had to meet in the middle for time wise and whatnot. So I appreciate everybody that did show up here on a little bit of a different time than I usually do this. So there's that, but also be sure to check out my most recent review that I just did with Geometry Survivor, a phenomenal little roguelike game that's very similar to something like Vampire Survivors or a Halls of Torment or something like that. Maybe even something like a Brotato. So definitely check that game out. It's only $7.99. Pretty damn fun. But this is your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming from TSWS Gaming YouTube channel, letting you guys know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
Yeah, sure. Peace.